Hey, welcome back to my channel. Something's happening in Ontario that barely made the evening news, but it might expose one of Canada's biggest economic secrets.
It was a billion-dollar bet.
We're opening the first full-scale commercial electric vehicle plant in Canada.
But less than 3 years on from Justin Trudeau and Doug Ford's commitment to electric vehicles, GM has pulled the plug. The Kami Ingersoll plant in southwestern Ontario, ending production of the Bright Drop electric van.
General Motors has quietly paused production of its Bright Drop electric vans at the Kami plant in Ingersoll, a facility once hailed as a cornerstone of Canada's electric vehicle revolution. Overnight, more than 1,000 workers were affected. On paper, that kind of headline should have triggered panic, lost jobs, halted production, and a potential domino effect across the auto sector. But that's not what happened. Instead of collapse, Canada's response was almost...
But that's where he's at right now. We have 350 people that are going to be laid off, not mentioning the other, I think 700 or 800 that are already laid off. They breach a contract, we're going to sue them. Simple as that. And he knows that. They've breached a contract, and we're going to make sure that we get another vehicle in that area.
Ottawa activated emergency training programs. Unions stepped in to secure wages. Regional suppliers quickly pivoted to domestic projects to keep the supply chain intact. Within days, operations stabilized. While U.S. factories made headlines for mass layoffs and uncertainty, Canada quietly held its ground. It raises a question: how did a country facing the same tariffs and the same market downturn manage to stay standing? What's Canada doing differently that others aren't seeing? Behind that factory pull...
I never thought for a minute it would ever come to the point where they're almost shutting down, right?
Well, we've had multiple shutdowns here before, but, you know, if this is going to be a permanent closure, that's a different story.
General Motors has announced it's ending production of its Bright Drop electric delivery van at Kami.
Lies a much bigger story, one that starts in Washington. When the Trump administration imposed a 25% tariff on vehicles assembled in Canada, the impact was immediate. Parts became more expensive, logistics slowed, and automakers like GM suddenly face an uphill battle. Internal estimates suggest the company absorbed roughly $1.1 billion in tariff costs during the second quarter alone, with total losses projected between $4 and $5 billion for the year. Yet, north of the border, the system didn't break rather than chaos. Ottawa launched a suite of targeted relief programs, a mix of tax credits, regional adjustment funds, and emergency supply chain grants, to stabilize production and protect jobs. Suppliers that once depended on U.S. imports began redirecting their operations inward, strengthening local manufacturing and reducing exposure to American trade shocks. The contrast is clear. While Washington doubled down on protectionism, Ottawa doubled down on stability. That difference, calm over chaos, might be the reason Canada's auto industry is still standing while others are starting to falter. But the Bright Drop story isn't just about economics. It's also about climate. Canada's brutal winters introduce another challenge for electric vehicles. Research from the Canadian Automobile Association found that temperatures between -7 degrees Celsius and -15 degrees Celsius can reduce driving range by anywhere from 14% to 39%. Around 65% of EV owners report noticeable performance drops during cold months, enough to make early models like Bright Drop struggle to meet delivery targets in northern regions. Instead of treating the cold as a roadblock, Canada turned it into an opportunity. Across Ontario, at least 4 startups are developing cold-resistant battery cells capable of maintaining efficiency in sub-zero conditions. Major logistics players like Purolator and Canada Post are shifting toward hybrid and hydrogen-powered fleets to ensure year-round reliability. The same climate that once froze EV performance have become the catalyst for innovation, driving Canada to adapt faster and smarter than many expected. What truly sets Canada apart isn't just innovation, it's preparation. While other nations scrambled to react, Ottawa built what economists now describe as a shock-absorber economy. It's a system designed not just to respond to crises, but to cushion them before they spiral. Between 2020 and 2024, Canada attracted more than $46 billion in EV-related investments, supported by roughly $52.5 billion in public incentives, the largest package in the G7 relative to GDP. Beneath those numbers lies a carefully layered framework, a $5 billion strategic response fund to assist companies hit by tariffs. a regional adjustment fund that recently doubled from $450 million to $1 billion to keep local manufacturing stable, and a $450 million retraining initiative helping 50,000 workers transition into EV and battery supply chain roles. These programs didn't just protect balance sheets, they built confidence. Canada's secret may not lie in avoiding crisis, but in managing it differently. Where others see disruption, Canada sees an opportunity to reinforce its economic foundation. The Kami plant's brief shutdown could have symbolized weakness. Instead, it showcased resilience. Through planning, adaptability, and a calm hand at the wheel, Canada demonstrated that stability isn't a passive state. It's a strategy.so. While headlines elsewhere scream about layoffs and shutdowns, Canada's quiet strength tells a different story. It's not the loudest country in the room, but it's proving that steady leadership and forward thinking can turn even the harshest winters, both economic and literal, into seasons of growth. If you've made it this far, consider subscribing. It's how we keep uncovering what others won't say, and how we keep exploring the untold stories behind Canada's silent strength. Canada's workers see government policy not as a distant bureaucracy, but as a safety net that moves with the market. That confidence, more than any tariff, tax break, or subsidy, is what keeps a country's industrial engine running when others begin to stall. Across the border, however, General Motors' U.S. operations are feeling the full force of Washington's tariff war. The company has already absorbed around $4.5 billion in extra tax-related costs, and reports suggest it's being forced to reinvest another $4 billion just to navigate political roadblocks and reconfigure its supply chains. For a company once regarded as a symbol of American industrial power, this isn't just a financial burden. It's a structural setback. Analysts now describe Canada as GM's natural buffer zone, a place where research, engineering, and testing continue without the uncertainty that clouds its U.S. plants. Stable energy prices, predictable policy, and lower logistics costs give Canada a rare edge in a region otherwise dominated by volatility. Around Ontario, that advantage is multiplying fast. Projects like Volkswagen's St. Thomas battery plant and the Stellantis LGES facility in Windsor have created a dense ecosystem of suppliers, skilled labor, and cross-industry expertise that GM can still depend on. The contrast couldn't be clearer. While the United States struggles with political headwinds and rising costs, Canada is quietly becoming the only place in North America where the EV transition is still advancing at full speed. Rather than reacting defensively, Canada has started to rewrite its industrial playbook, quietly but decisively. The bright drop production pause didn't derail that vision, it clarified it. It reminded policymakers, investors, and manufacturers that depending too heavily on the U.S. market isn't a safeguard, it's a vulnerability. In response, Canada is building a fully self-contained, made-in-Canada EV value chain, one that stretches from the mines of the north to the ports of the Atlantic. It connects raw materials, advanced manufacturing, and export infrastructure into a single integrated system that in the mineral-rich regions of northern Ontario and Quebec, a new industrial backbone is taking shape. Nickel, lithium, and cobalt, once shipped abroad as raw commodities, are now being reprocessed and refined domestically to feed Canada's expanding EV ecosystem. Ottawa's public investment in these sectors has now surpassed private capital by about 14%, signaling that Canada is playing the long game. This isn't just about attracting foreign investment. It's about locking in local control over strategic resources for decades to come. Ontario, long known for its role in assembly line manufacturing, is undergoing its most profound industrial transformation in a generation. Cities like St. Thomas, Windsor, and Alliston are evolving into hubs of battery chemistry, materials science, and component innovation. Universities, startups, and multinational corporations are now linked through cooperative models that emphasize collaboration over competition, a framework rarely seen elsewhere in North America. This approach is nurturing a skilled workforce ready to adapt to new technologies, creating a self-sustaining cycle of innovation. Meanwhile, Canada's trade relationships with Europe are reshaping its export future. Under new green trade frameworks, Ottawa is positioning the country to supply carbon-neutral batteries to European markets by 2026, tapping into surging demand for low-emission, transparent supply chains. This eastward shift represents more than just market diversification. It's an assertion of independence. By building deeper ties with the EU, Canada is carving out a new role for itself, a sustainable industrial partner capable of standing apart from American economic turbulence. By choosing autonomy over dependency, Canada isn't simply insulating itself from the next global shock. It's redefining the industrial geography of the continent. If this strategy succeeds, the next chapter of North American manufacturing may not be written in Detroit or Texas, but in Ontario and Quebec. The bright drop pause, once seen as a potential crisis, became a real-world stress test of Canada's resilience, and the results speak volumes that in an era defined by volatility, tariffs, and protectionism, Canada has proven what long-term planning and quiet stability can achieve. While the U.S. wrestles with political infighting and production cuts, Canada continues to protect jobs, attract investment, and keep its factories humming. Ottawa hasn't chosen isolation, it's chosen smart adaptation. Its economic framework balances worker protection with openness to global opportunities, blending pragmatism with foresight. And it's paying off. GM continues to maintain key operations in Canada, signaling confidence not just in one company's future, but in the broader ecosystem that supports it. Economists now describe Canada's approach as North America's most effective shock absorption model. It's not built on luck or temporary stimulus, it's built on consistency. And in a world where markets can shift overnight, consistency might just be the rarest competitive advantage of all. As the dust settles, one question remains. If Canada can stay steady through this level of turbulence, can North America's supply chain truly function without Canada at its center? In a global economy where resilience is a new currency, Canada's quiet, calculated approach may be the blueprint others have been searching for. Thanks for watching. And if this resonated with you, don't forget to like and subscribe. Every click helps fuel the truth.